So when the show was originally concepted, it was about Taylor teaching me specific things in the world of comic books. And while we've had a great backlog of learning about the Flash and learning about Superman, you know what we've never covered? We still haven't covered Batman, which is because it's such a deep topic to go over. But we do have a major love for Batman, especially for the new Snyder Capullo stuff. But regardless, again, with the pictures of Benedict Cumberbatch that came out last week, Taylor got super excited. Like, you got really excited for Doctor Strange.
Because he looked so much like the comic book character that I've seen that I was like, well, it looks like they're taking this... I mean, all the Marvel movies they've taken seriously, but I was like, well, I gotta learn about this guy. I
feel like they would take this one even more seriously because I don't really know what this is about, but I'm assuming magic.
Yeah.
Okay, so because he's more fantastical than even Guardians of the Galaxy, and how they didn't really do magic, they were just a bunch of ragtag team who fought stuff. So now you've got to have an audience that's going to take even more of a leap of faith, going, okay, this dude apparently lives in New York, maybe, or he shows up to New York.
So to me, this felt like when Thor came out, it was similar to people like, who's Thor, Norse god, what's going on? And that didn't have... Chris Hemsworth came out of that. But now, I think in Doctor Strange's favor, you have Benedict Cumberbatch.
Right.
Who is just so popular.
It's very good.
You got your Sherlocks, you got your Smogs, you got your...
And Zoolander.
Yeah, I think that looks great. I'm really excited. But anyway, Benedict Cumberbatch is a very popular figure now, so I think that's going to benefit this movie and get people into the theaters more so than Thor did with Chris Hemsworth.
Absolutely.
And now Thor movies sell out because people know who Thor is, but it's a similar uphill battle.
Yeah.
As I say, almost as Guardians of the Galaxy, because it's so unknown, but weirder because it's like, who cares about a Sorcerer Supreme?
I don't even know.
But I now do, because...
So, before we get into what he is, I wanted to get your opinion on Benedict Cumberbatch as an actor. We understand he's great, but now that you've seen the character and you've read lots of trades and individual issues, do you actually see his face? Before you saw the mustache, do you see his facial...
I don't know if I see it. His mannerisms are going to be great for the character.
Okay.
He's definitely great casting.
Okay.
Great casting as Doctor Strange.
Cool.
And we'll get into, like, the history, like, basically the origin story. So, just before, I'll talk about all the different trades I read after we talk about the 101. But I did read 4 trades and 2 single issues. So I would say that I have a pretty decent knowledge base.
And trades are collections of issues.
Of comics, yeah. So I did read a bunch of those, and so let's get into it, I guess. So this is we're combining wrapping up the backlog and our main topic, because my backlog over the last holiday was reading Doctor Strange. So
this is your Doctor Strange 101. Make sure you watch it and enjoy it.
Okay.
Let's start.
So Doctor Strange, who is he? Stephen Strange is his real name.
Okay. Normal dude?
He was the best of the best, surgeon.
Okay.
Sometimes neurosurgeon. It depends on, I guess, what era.
Earth person.
Regular dude.
Got it.
Just, an amazing surgeon. And but he was a dick.
What kind of surgeon?
Well, some say neuro, depending on, I think the time era. Okay. Sometimes it's just, surgeon, just great.
He fixed my kidney.
Right.
Okay.
Or sometimes, I think in the recent animated feature that came out that's pretty good so far, I haven't got all the way through it, he's a neurosurgeon.
Okay.
So, it's always, top of the top. But he's I guess he used to be a nice person and somehow became corrupt of money. And all he does is work on, either cases that would get into a scientific journal because it's so impressive, or people that have lots of money. Okay. Classically, it was just, he only works on the rich because they could pay him enough. And he does, house calls. And he's, one of those, real arrogant...
Sure.
Wow, that was really...
An aggressive way to put it.
Yeah, geez, I'm sorry. I'm going to cut that out. That was weird. Real arrogant jerks. So, anyway. Doctor Strange. So, what happens is he's driving his car one day. Sometimes it's on his way to a fancy client, all depending on... almost every single one of those trades happen to be an origin story or have the origin in it, which is really helpful, but sometimes I'm enough origin stories.
But you're seeing you're seeing the through line.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same every time. He's in a car, he gets in a terrible car accident, and his hands are irreparably damaged.
Wow.
So he can no longer be a surgeon. And that's
How do you do that in a car?
His cars, they get crushed and the nerve damage is so bad that he can no longer hold a scalpel.
Oh, no.
And that's his livelihood. And they say, well, you could still be a consultant or something. And he's like, no. Oh, so he basically spends all of his money, but even though he's the best surgeon, in some stories he blames the guy that worked on it, even though it's not that guy's fault. He's like, you're just a terrible surgeon. If it was me working on me, I'd be fine.
Does that guy play any part to anything?
In one of the books he does.
Okay.
It's most of the time it's just kind of he's like, no, my hands! And they're all weirdly, they're drawn almost the same every time, and they have they almost look like I don't know how to explain, paper mache, or not paper mache, but like if or someone made an origami hand like with like different like angled like very angular. So in I think it's supposed to be scars, like because people tried to work on all of the like the different nerves in his hand.
Sure.
And it's pretty cool. I like the way they make his hands look so weird. When his hands aren't weird, you don't really see the damage. I guess that was kind of so you can visualize the nerve damage.
Sure. Okay.
And so he spends all of his money because he's a super successful surgeon, paying basically every single person that says they could possibly maybe fix his hands in every single way he possibly can, and no one can do it. And he's like kind of all. Usually he ends up being like practically homeless. He's gone to get anything, and then he hears something about this mystical dude in like Tibet or the Himalayas or something called the Ancient One that supposedly can heal anything and do anything. So he's like, whatever. I don't believe in magic or anything like that, but I mean, what choice do I got?
You gotta spend all your money.
So he goes to the Ancient One. The Ancient One's like, I mean, I don't know. You're kind of like not a good person, but I mean, if you want to study with me or something, he's like, look, man, I'm not here to study. Just fix my hands. But he's like locked in there for a week because there's a blizzard in Tibet or something. And then he usually ends up stopping this guy Mordo, who kind of ends up being like, he's like the apprentice of the Ancient One is the Sorcerer Supreme of the planet, for the record.
And what is the Sorcerer Supreme?
The greatest, best, awesome magician that saves the world constantly from ongoing spiritual threats that we may not see. Kind of like in the new Doctor Strange, which is pretty good. I mean, there's some of the trades I've liked better, but I'm excited to keep reading. He kind of explains it like doctors are dealing with constant like biological threats, like bacteria and stuff like that, and the Sorcerer Supreme and sorcerers deal with the same thing. You just don't see it, and they're magical versions of bacteria, and they're sucking on you or whatever. Like,
all right,
you don't
it's getting weird already.
Anyway, that's just kind of the way they're doing it in this new one, and he can kind of see it all happening, whereas no one else kind of can.
He's got bacteria vision.
Well, mystical bacteria vision.
Got it.
Okay, so Doctor Strange. He goes there. This guy Mordo is the apprentice of the Sorcerer Supreme. Ends up getting corrupted by Dormammu. It's a weird name. He's like a fiery, evil demon god with like a flaming head. He's like a demon god guy.
So the mentor to the Sorcerer Supreme is now being poisoned by the bad guy.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that wants power, you know? And so, not poisoned necessarily, but like corrupted. Like Darth Vader and the Emperor kind of situation.
Okay. That's a good analogy to pull towards.
Well, I guess it would be more Anakin and Palpatine, because by that time, but anyway, it doesn't matter. So, he has this whole plan to like kill the Sorcerer Supreme and like become the Sorcerer Supreme. That's the bad guy, right? His name is Mordo. He's kind of like, he ends up being like basically the main adversary to Doctor Strange going forward. Dormammu and Mordo. And so Doctor Strange catches while he's hanging out and seeing weird stuff happen. He's kind of like, well, maybe this sorcerer thing is real. He catches him like conversing with Dormammu or like with the dark arts, and he wants to tell the Sorcerer Supreme, but Mordo, almost in every single origin, this happens the same way. So it's not like this is one time. He puts some sort of curse on him or something so he can't talk about what he saw. And so finally, to stop this from happening, the only way he could think to do it is to pledge allegiance to the Sorcerer Supreme, because once you pledge allegiance, he can know everything you know, or something like that. And once he does, Sorcerer Supreme's like, yeah, I totally know this guy's being a total jerk and trying to kill me, but you're now my apprentice. And they banish the bad guy, Mordo, and then he goes off and his own little thing and always comes back to try to attack. And then Doctor Strange learns from the Sorcerer Supreme. The Sorcerer Supreme ends up dying at some point, and either Mordo comes and attacks him, or something happens in each origin story to where the Sorcerer Supreme gets to, maybe he's too old, or maybe something happens, and then the only person worthy of the title is Doctor Strange, Doctor Stephen Strange. And so
because
he becomes,
he's the apprentice, or because
he's the apprentice
so
and he's a good person now, and like all that stuff. And he becomes the Sorcerer Supreme. So that's the basic origin every time. Now, interspersed with that, there's a dude named Wong. He is like the Kato to Doctor Strange's Green Hornet, the Robin to his Batman, but I would say more the Kato, because Doctor Strange is awesome at sorcery and stuff, but Dr. Wong comes from a line, I guess almost like the Alfred, a line of people who pledged to serve the Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's like his manservant, but best friend.
Okay.
So not like he's
Can
not
he
like
fight?
He is a master of martial arts, like one of the best. He's super awesome, and so he teaches, of course, Doctor Strange martial arts because it's like I may not know magic. In some origins, like they're competing apprentices, but one is better. Like Doctor Strange is better at like knowing the spells and stuff, and Wong is a little bit too like, I want to just kind of kick someone's butt. So he's not focused enough, and so they kind of have to work together. That's kind of the way they did the season 1 version. Doctor Strange season 1 is one of the comics I read. But anyway, so Wong is always like his dude. And then and he's always usually meets him there, or like that's part of the thing is like the Sorcerer Supreme gets this apprentice person.
Do they? Okay, so a couple questions just to make sure I'm established in this. Do they continue to fight in Tibet? Do they go back to?
He ends up so Doctor Strange. That's a good. Doctor Strange has his main place called the Sanctum Sanctorum. Always.
Okay.
That's his bat cave, the Sanctum Sanctorum. It's like this magically hidden or like protected building in New York. Usually, he lives in New York.
Okay.
And it's just like whole building that
and the things he fights, I say things because are they like bank robbers kind of stuff, or are they the
he pretty
demon
much sticks
things
with
that are
demon
hidden?
mystical things.
So how does he see them? Because he naturally see them, or does he have powers and he transforms into something?
All right. So first of all, let's talk about his powers.
Okay,
and then we'll go into what he uses.
What
so
powers does he have?
He uses astral projection all the time.
What?
When you leave your body in spirit, but you leave your basically you're in like meditation, astral projection.
So he's going to the spirit world.
Not in the spirit world, but he can fly around, like go anywhere, in like his spiritual form, and like talk to people that can converse with. So he can go and like he can make people see him too if he wishes.
Okay.
But that's his that's one of his main things he does all the time. It seems like astral projection. Also, he's so powerful that he can. It's kind of like the telekinesis or the telepathy of like
Jean Grey
or Xavier, Professor Xavier, but on a mystical level, he can talk up to 10 people anywhere in the world at the same time. Like he's that powerful.
Talk to up to.
If he knows where they are, he can converse with their minds, kind of to anyone. But it's not telepathy; it's magic, but it's the same concept.
Okay.
He has, he can do magic. He has
Can
spells.
he interact with people when he's? I'm going to just say floating. So
Yes.
When he's,
Yes,
so he can like push people down and stuff.
He can go inside people's bodies and take over their bodies, but no, he cannot.
Okay.
Like he doesn't really do spells and stuff using astral projection. It's kind of more of like a. Usually, if it happened a lot in the comics I've read when his body is harmed really bad, and he can't.
What happens to him?
I don't know. He's either pierced by some like alien race of mystic bad guys, or he's like trapped, or like somehow hurt, or
is there at any point does this take place in space?
Yeah, actually, the 1980s, 70s comic book totally took place in space.
Huh.
Like, they started mixing everything together in the 1980s when it was like, you had the Fantastic Four were hanging out in, like, hell with this bad guy, and then Doctor Strange helped that because their son was trapped by him, and it got... The 1980s ones, it's interesting to see because that was the only comic that almost wasn't an origin story.
Sure.
Actually, The Oath wasn't an origin story either and had a really great, quick overview, but it was kind of... And that was in The Oath, he was shot by a super mystic bullet. And his astral form had to like come out and be like, well, my body, you gotta fix my body because I'm really kind of useless here. But he can go inside people's bodies. He like, asks them usually. He can force his way in, but usually he's like, hey, can I take over your body real quick? Or like, can I join your body so we can talk and like I can figure this out?
Okay.
Astral projection.
So what other powers does he have? So he's got astral projection where he can fly around and take over people's bodies if they have permission, or he can do it himself.
Right.
Talk to other about
standard
10 people.
magic spells or
So he can,
whatever
like,
to
push
do
plasma.
You can shoot like blasts of magic,
Sure, okay.
or like make stuff disappear, or like
Okay.
make like hexes against demons and all sorts
Okay.
of standard magical fare.
Sure.
He is super powerful though.
Does he have like an ultimate move?
Not necessarily an ultimate move. He kind of just does those things a lot. His cloak, that weird, like cool red, with the spikies and the red cloak, that's actually what gives him so he doesn't have to use his magic to fly. It's called the Cloak of Levitation, and lets him fly up to the speed of sound, I guess. And because of his magic, he can make it so he can breathe going that fast.
Okay.
He basically flies around and he can kind of call it at will. It's kind of like a wand. I mean, not a wand, like a broomstick, I guess, in like the Harry Potter terms, where he can kind of just like float it over to him, and it kind of like floats in cool waves and gets on him, and he's like, woohoo, I can fly. That's his gem, and then he always wears around his neck. There's always a gem that you see. It's called the Eye of Agamotto.
Okay.
And it lets him kind of have the third sight, kind of the situation where he can see. That is kind of part of the thing that helps him see, like, mystical things that are hidden.
Got it, okay.
Especially from, like, even his powers, sometimes he has to call on that. It also has, like, the light of Agamotto that seems to be used a lot. That's a really powerful, like... It's like if Iron Man's chest blast was mystical.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
And it helps him, like, see things that are unhidden and stuff like that. And he carries around a special tome that's, like, the Book of Ashanti. And then he's always calling on... like, there's, like, the certain spirits. So, like, there's, like, 4 or 5 different spirits that he consistently calls upon to help him. They're like, the whatever of whatever, come help me, do this. And he uses that to, like, defeat enemies. Or he has to be able to be, like... In one of the origin stories, he had to believe in himself and can, like, take control over these spirits that could wipe you out. But you have to, like, own it, you know?
Is he a normal dude?
He's a regular person. He's just like the best sorcerer in the
right.
Sorcerer
But does
Supreme.
he have like an alter ego? Like, does he just
Anymore,
go to dinner
no, he
and
no
stuff?
longer. He does. People think the regular people that don't know that he's like an actual mystic think he's just very famous. He's so famous that even if he walks around, people still remember him as the surgeon. Mm-hmm. He's this famous surgeon that lost power of his hands and has kind of just gotten really into the occult. Oh. And so he's kind of like, some people think he's like
crazy.
Not necessarily crazy, but kind of like. He's a dude that believes in mystic stuff, but not a lot of people necessarily believe in it. But the people that do go to him, and he solves their problems.
Does he have like a love interest? Is there someone like
he's
that?
He's a ladies' man. That guy sits around a lot and is constantly like he's definitely like a man whore for sure.
Okay,
like, definitely he has love interest. Actually, in one of the comics, him and the Night Nurse, who is from Daredevil, have a relationship, and that's a really cool thing. And I think that's the main stuff. He's a defender. He's part of the Defenders, which the Defenders is what they're building on Netflix.
Well, how is Doctor Strange part of like Daredevil and the Punisher and and Jessica Jones?
Because they're kind of like these weird other they're not. He's been an Avenger as well, but it's just like because they're like I feel like sometimes they're the guys that deal with the other crap that the Avengers aren't dealing with. So sometimes the other crap is mystical stuff. Okay. So he kind of has been a defender a lot.
Can he give his mystical third eye vision to anyone else so they can see too?
If he's inhibiting their body and they get the thing too, he can like help them use it. Okay. If they believe. But sometimes they're not strong enough. Like if they don't have the goodness of heart or whatever thing they need, they can't usually utilize it to the extent that is needed.
So as a quick recap before we go into the books the trades you read that you recommended people in the comments to read. Man, powerful surgeon, but he's an asshole, gets in an accident, loses the thing that makes him that powerful surgeon. He pays all this money from his own hubris to be able to fix himself, but he can't, goes to Tibet, meets a guy, the guy's like, you're an asshole, I'm not gonna help you out. But then, this other dude, who is his apprentice of the sorcerer, is actually trying to be evil, with this other really bad guy, and then Doctor Strange is able to figure that out. He's like, hey, that's a bad guy, but there's a curse put on him, and then he has to pledge himself to the sorcerer so that the sorcerer can learn everything about it, and the sorcerer's like, yeah, I know, but now you're my slave, pretty much. Mm-hmm. And then he learns from him, that dude dies somehow. Right. The older guy, I guess. Any idea how old he is?
Really old.
Okay, that's good age.
Like, centuries.
Got it. Okay, so very old guy finally dies for some reason. And then... Now he's got all these powers with standard magic blasts of energy, and then he's also got the ability to see demons and they're large demons, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, all over the place. Sometimes
they're not like the size of bacteria, because I was going to use the bacteria.
No, it was an example he was using, but no, they're usually he could like literally like dog size, if not bigger, for the most part.
All right, cool. And then, so he is also a ladies' man. But then everyone, he has no secret identity, but everyone just kind of thinks he's crazy. He's an occult leader, really. Yeah?
Like, not a cult leader, occult. Okay. O-C.
That's what I thought, occult.
The occult, not like a cult. Okay, I just want to make sure.
Occult. Yeah.
He's not a cult leader.
Is that not the same thing? What is the occult versus a cult?
A cult is something that you convince people are a part of and like all people suicide. Occult is... like the magic and like the werewolves and vampires and stuff like that.
I just thought it was nearly the same thing.
No, it's not.
But otherwise, so it's not even a brief overview of Doctor Strange. That's a great primer to have. What do you think they're going to be able to include in the movie? Just the build up part, the 101.
I assume it's going to be he's a jerk surgeon. Yep. Hurts his hands. Sure. Goes to Tibet, learns about that, and probably gets to the next level of like defeating like maybe I don't know if Dormammu is going to be the big bad. I think it'll probably be Mordo. Okay. Just because the original easier apprentice. To like in a movie to have like a sorcerer fight a sorcerer more than a sorcerer fight this super demon bad guy that in the comics the way he seems to defeat Dormammu is like kind of trick him with like kind of like demon logic in like or the devil went out of Georgia kind of like I'll bet you, or like you owe me, and then you can't really do anything, and then like Dormammu is always trying to like figure out a way around this loophole of this deal he made with Doctor Strange not to attack Earth. Okay. Dormammu is like so powerful and such like an evil demon god that he doesn't really necessarily usually uses people, but Doctor Strange is fighting him. Whatever. It's kind of like that. Sure. Okay. I feel like it'll do that, and I hope though that I don't know. I would appreciate if it wasn't an origin story, but I feel like it has to be.
It has to be an origin. You can't just be like, hi, I used to be a surgeon, but now I'm.
But they did a really good
wizard.
job. Like I said, when we get into it, they did a really good job of like basically giving you everything you possibly need to know about Doctor Strange and having it not be an origin story in The Oath. But I think that's also comic book logic. When you're reading comic books, you just kind of can read a page of like, he was a surgeon, this happened. You're like, got it, and keep going. Where movie going audience, maybe not.
So, all right. So let's, like you were just talking about with The Oath, let's get into the big ones that you've read that you would recommend people read.
Okay. I read Doctor Strange, The Oath by Vaughn. Strange, The Doctor Is Out by Mark Waid. Doctor Strange Season 1 by Gray Peck. Doctor Strange, Don't Pay the Ferryman by Roger Stern, who wrote some of my favorite Superman stories, so I was like, that sounds great. And Strange number 1 by Strazinsky. So there's a book called Strange. It's another origin story by Michael J. Strazinsky, who we just talked about, who I love. So I just read issue 1 because I was like, and I realized it's another origin story, so I haven't bought the other issues because I'm like, how many origin stories can I read? And then Doctor Strange number 1 2005, which is the one I have here. 2015. You're right. Sorry. Yes. So I'm going to start reading the ongoing series fully because I feel like I've read enough of the old stuff that I need to know whatever. I feel like this might kind of tell you what they're doing in the movie more than anything else because sometimes that's how they go.
Did you have a favorite of the ones you've read that you would recommend?
I would say that definitely read Doctor Strange The Oath. It was 100%. It was the first one I read and still the best, and I want to go back and read it. It's Doctor Strange. He's hurt in the beginning, and he goes to the night nurse, and it's like the night. So you've got like your little bit of Daredevil like lore in there with the night nurse. She's a big Marvel character, but that's what most people would know her from. It was what's her name plays her, Rosario Dawson. So if you're confused about who we're talking about in Daredevil, Rosario Dawson's character from Daredevil and Doctor Strange is the night nurse in the comic books, and she's like this doctor that basically understands enough about superheroes to just she's like their surgeon. So like Iron Fist goes there all the time, who I think they might even introduced Iron Fist in the Doctor Strange movie because he's going to be the Netflix series. I'm not sure if they're going to do the crossover thing or they might just have him in there because they did mention Doctor Stephen Strange in Captain America Winter Soldier. It's one of the names rattled off of one of the guys that kills himself up at the top of one of the buildings. At one point he says Stephen Strange and you're like, what? So if Stephen Strange already exists as he wouldn't be a surgeon if the guy's talking about him like, this is crazy. So maybe, he's already Doctor Strange when you meet him in the movie, I guess, at that point. And maybe it'll go into his origin like a flashback.
Quick thing. Yep.
Could be.
Okay.
Anyway, but yeah, so...
Read The Oath.
The Oath by Vaughn. I think Vaughn. Vaughan. It's great. Vaughn. It's like $7 or $8 on Comixology. It's like $15 for a trade. It's cool. Super good. Then Doctor Strange Season 1 was really good as well. Different Wong. I kind of really like the dedication of Wong in The Oath and like the older comics. Like I just feel like I like that better than this kind of like weirdly adversarial relationship that was in Season 1. But it's still, both stories, it's amazing how many origin stories I read. That one, and then even Doctor Strange, The Doctor Is Out. I guess Doctor Strange loses his powers as Sorcerer Supreme, but he's still kind of a sorcerer. So his hands work for magic and stuff. He still can't be a surgeon, but I guess when he loses his magical whatever, like you're not worthy of being Sorcerer Supreme or whatever, his hands even can't work as well, and so he has to have help someone to like. This is the classic like this is like the way to do magic. Seems like it's almost Spider-Man's thing, but like not quite. So just kind of like touching right here, it seems to be like the way to do magic for Doctor Strange. He's always, even in here you can see it. He's holding his hand like that. But yeah, so. That was really good because it's by Mark Waid, or the Season 1 is pretty good by Greg Peck. Don't Fade the Ferryman was really cool, I guess, but it was a kind of a trudge to get through because it's 1980s comic books. There's so much to read, and it was so kind of like, okay, but definitely shows you more like how in-depth the magic stuff can get, and the level of like, he's all of a sudden in space and fighting space Sorcerer Supremes and stuff. It got pretty crazy. Strange number 1, really good origin story so far. The art is really nice and really good. And then the new one, I'm not sure how much I like it. Okay. But I'm interested. It got me interested enough to see what's going on. I kind of like the established Doctor Strange that's not... I don't know. For some reason, the way he was written in The Oath is my favorite so far. I don't know.
And you're liking the movie, though, too, right? So
they are really nailing the character as far as visually. I don't know how they're going to do it, but Benedict Cumberbatch seems to fit that character very well.
Good. Exciting. So there we go, everyone. That is your quick, long recap of Doctor Strange. Let us know in the comments below what you guys thought of the character. If you're a huge Doctor Strange fan, what should Taylor be reading that he hadn't mentioned here? If you are just getting into it, what excites you about it? What excites you about Benedict Cumberbatch as a character? What are you looking forward to seeing in the movie? How are they going to tie this all into the MCU is an interesting question.
Yeah, because they haven't done mystical stuff yet.
Yeah.
So it'll be an interesting thing to see happen.
It'll be cool. But otherwise, I mean...
Write into us to comic chat at cbxcast.com.
Oh, yeah. Do that.
Or leave a comment.
Or leave a comment. Do whichever. You can do old school, new school. It's all good. Subscribe. Do that. That's an important one.
Yeah.
But otherwise, we are wrapping up the show with this. We are a weekly show dedicated to all things comic books and popular culture inside the world of comics, movies, TV, reading, stuff. So we hope you enjoy it. We hope you guys like this. Make sure you leave a comment, like, subscribe, share it with your friends. And it really helps us continue to do this when we got the sniffles and when we just want to drink all day and play board games, which we're going to be doing as a 2016 resolution, doing more Let's Plays. Because we have gotten a lot of great feedback from you guys from our old channel when we used to do like the Let's Plays for Batman, Batman Flux, and then some Arrow stuff. We're going to do those again.
Great.
And we're going to do those with better cameras, and it's going to be really exciting, and I'm excited for it. But you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at ComicChatWGat. You can find us on... Tumblr, comicchatwithgat.tumblr.com. And then we're also a part of the growing family of networks for CBX Cast, who have Taylor and Joe and Sam?
Nope. Kyle.
Steve? Kyle? I don't know. I'm sorry, Kyle. I don't know why I thought your name was Sam. They do a video game podcast called The Cardboard Box. Then you also have Real Retro, which dedicates all things movies pre-2005. So it's all fun. Make sure you go ahead and check out on our channel, our page. You can actually see some of our sister channels. You can go on there and just check out their videos, too. But other than that, let us know what you guys think. We will see you guys next week. If you're watching the one-off and just saying that this is the 101, you can go see our Last Week in Comics, where we look over some of the newest comics that have come out and tell you guys if you should buy them or not. So there's the link right above you for the full episode. But other than that, again, goodbye.
Thanks for watching.
So long, and farewell. And no more days off for a while. I gotta go back to work tomorrow.
I have to go back to work tomorrow.
It sucks.
It's the worst.
It sucks. Oh, go watch our interview with
Eric Gladstone, because
Gladstone.
it's ending soon. So make sure to
Kickstarter.
It's already funded, but we want to get that pushed to farther. And
no holds barred. Go
awesome.
Definitely watch
awesome.
that. Go watch that interview. It's right here again. I got a lot of editing to do on
you
this
sure
video.
do.
Woo.
All right. Bye.
Bye.